I enjoy donuts, but I don't enjoy when I bite into a donut and the filling just fills my mouth basically. So I have this recipe that I use all the time for mini donuts. They are like little balls, they are so cute, and it is just perfect. My family loves it. I feel it's the perfect size. It has the right amount of filling and it is great for entertaining as well. So if you're interested, keep watching and don't forget to click that subscribe button. Before we go on, I have a tip for you. If you always have like struggles with anything that has to do with baking, you need to start using a scale. So I typically would use cups, but I find that sometimes it can be inaccurate, and I like this scale because you can measure all sorts of things on it and it will be accurate. The list of ingredients and the measurements will be in the description box, so check it out. So in this bowl, I'm just putting some eggs. So I need about 2 eggs and some yolks. Next, I'm going to add some sugar, and then I'll add some milk. So I've just put powdered milk and water and mixed it together to get this consistency. Then I've added some salt. I'm using some instant yeast. This is the type of yeast I'm using today. You don't have to prove it before you use. This is what it looks like. Now mix everything together just to create a good mixture, and then we set aside. I'm using all-purpose flour, which is the same as plain flour, and I'm just sifting this into a bowl. It is important to sift because sometimes you can find some things inside the flour and you don't want that in your food. Next, I'm transferring the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients, and the dry ingredient is just flour. So I'm just going to put it in the bowl and then we'll mix. So we're just going to mix everything together so that we get a nice mixture. I'm using a spatula, but I will soon have to use my hands. My son likes to get involved when I'm cooking, so I just wanted to indulge him. For this next step, please wash your hands because you're going to use your hands to just work the dough and just mix everything together. We're going to mix it for about a minute or two. As you can see, the dough is very sticky. I'm going to leave it for about 15 minutes so that the gluten will activate, so that it becomes like a nicer texture basically. So I'm just mixing everything to combine it. We'll cover, leave for 15 minutes, and then we'll come back to it. After 15 minutes, I'm going to introduce some butter. So this butter is unsalted butter and it is at room temperature. I'm going to try to work this butter into the dough. As you can see, using a spatula is not making sense, so you always have to go back with your hands. If you have a processor or you have a mixer, stand mixer, it is perfect for this, and this is why I'm going to invest in a stand mixer soon. Because I do not like to do this with my hands, but if you don't have that, of course you can definitely do it with your hands. Just keep mixing till the butter gets mixed into the dough. You need patience if you're going to make donuts. Whenever I make donuts, it's something I start in the morning and then we eat it later in the day. So after I've mixed the dough with the butter, I'm just going to put it in the bowl and cover it for about an hour and a half. After an hour and a half, you can see that the dough has doubled in size and it looks so much nicer. It has some air bubbles in it, and that is absolutely normal. I'm just going to fold it a bit and then cut it into little balls. Please bear in mind that the surface you place the dough on has to be oiled. So I put it on my chopping board and I put a bit of oil on it, and I just use my kitchen tissue to just rub it so that it is properly moisturized. Make sure you give enough space between the bowls because we're still going to rest this dough again and it's going to double in size, so you need enough space for it to rise. The funny thing is you do not even need to put it in 2 bowls, but I like to do it because it makes it simpler for me. So now I'm going to cover with cling film and put it on the table to rest again for another hour. I told you, you need patience for donuts. This thing frustrates my son because when he sees me making it in the morning, he's like, oh my goodness, we have to wait and wait and wait for this thing to get ready. So I'm just going to put it on the table. Now you can see it has doubled in size. We're ready to make donuts. This is the jam I'll use for the filling. I really like this jam, it's so delicious. And I'm going to coat the donuts with sugar and cinnamon. So I'm just putting about 2 tablespoons of sugar and some cinnamon. Mix everything together just for a lovely flavor. You can totally skip this step. If you've watched the video up to this point, please click the like button, it helps me out. Thank you. Now I'm going back to the dough and you can see it's so easy to work with. I'm going to cut them into smaller balls, fold them at the bottom and then just roll them so that they look like nice little balls. This is how we love our donuts, like puff shaped but with filling in it, and it is so good and yummy. It is perfect if you have parties and you want to entertain just little bites of donuts. In a deep pan, I'm going to pour some vegetable oil and I'm going to test to see if it's hot. Once the end of the spatula starts bubbling, I know it is hot enough to start frying. You don't want it to be too hot. So we're going to transfer our donut balls into the pan, and truthfully, they look like puff. Your dough should float to the top immediately, as you can see what's happening. And they look so beautiful and rounded. Just leave them to fry for a bit. Make sure the temperature is not too high. If it's too high, it will burn, and if it is too low, it will just soak up a lot of oil. As you can see, some of the doughs will start flipping on their own, and you know I always draw life lessons from things like this. So what is the life lesson in this video, let me see? The life lesson for me would be that I have observed that some people are self-starters. There are some people that can just use their initiative and do something, become so successful. That doesn't mean they're better than others. It's just they just find it easy to be successful. While some others, they need support. You have to help them turn, as in the case of these donuts, some of them need help turning. And that's what I'm going to do for them. I'm going to get out my sieve and just mix everything together so that at the end of the day, everybody is nice, round, brown, and successful. Immediately the donuts are done, I just transfer it to the bowl of sugar with cinnamon and roll it around just to coat it. And I do that for all of them. And then now we have to transfer our jam into the donuts. As you can see, I'm using this trick. I've put my jam into that tube and I'm just pressing the jam to fill the donuts. After a long day of waiting, Catboy is ready for his donut and he loves it. We enjoy this donut at home, and I would like it if you guys try this version of donuts. They are really easy to make, but they do take some time. Like, you have to think about it in advance before you start making it. Your kids will love it, and I absolutely love my donuts like this. So let me know if you try them. Tag me on Instagram, tag me on Facebook. Anywhere you want to tag me, I would love to see it. If you've watched to this stage and you're not yet subscribed, what are you doing? Please click the subscribe button. I would love to have you as part of the family, and more recipes are coming, so stay tuned. I'll see you guys in my next video.